cruise and tourism industry figures are today lobbying the federal government, demanding certainty for the local cruise industry. Carnival Australia, one of Australia's largest cruise companies, will lead talks in Canberra, asking for local cruises to be permitted in Australian waters. The calls come after a ban on cruise vessels entering or leaving Australian waters was extended by 3 months. The industry shutdown is estimated to have cost the Australian economy some $6 billion. For more on this, joining us live is well-known TV chef Luke Mangan, who's worked with P&O Cruises as their celebrity chef for over a decade. Luke, I see you're lending your weight to this campaign to get Australians cruising again. I guess having someone like you on board serves as a reminder, really, that it's not just the cruise liners suffering here, but plenty of other sectors who are really feeling the repercussions of this suspension of cruising.
Exactly right. Thanks for having me. You know, as you said, $6 billion a year it contributes to this country. 18,000 Australian people it employs. So there's a lot of people still affected. And if you look at the roll-on effect from, you imagine when a cruise ship goes into a port in a city, the hotel fills up or the restaurants and cafes and bars fill up. And that's the real effect it has. So if you look at also, places like the Rocks and Sydney Harbour Bridge Climb, where people are doing these cruises, get off for the day and experience the great wonders of each city. So it's a real problem. And I guess what we're after is a pathway, because it's going to take at least 3 months or so to get the ships up and ready and get them back ready for people to cruise again. Now, I know for a fact that the cruise companies will only operate these ships and cruises when things are safe and done properly on board. And cruising is a very safe thing anyway, I feel, but obviously we've got to go through the correct process now from what's happened in the past.
Yeah, we all remember that at the very beginning of the pandemic, the outbreaks on those cruise ships were pretty devastating to so many people. I know that you're joining us live from one of your restaurants on land, but I understand you also have several on P&O's fleets. How do you actually see cruising changing as we emerge from the pandemic? You mentioned the safety angle here. Will we ever, do you think, return to the buffet breakfast, the buffet meals on a cruise ship, or do you expect we will see significant changes to the way that we actually do dine out while we're cruising?
Well, look, I think if I look at a cruise ship like a floating hotel, and hotels are operating now, obviously, with Glass and the Sydney Hilton here, and that's operating with breakfast and a breakfast buffet, but all done in safe manners. Now, I think on the cruise ship, staff will have to be vaccinated and things like that, and tested before they cruise, and all guests as well will need to be tested and probably maybe should be vaccinated as well. So, as I said before, cruising was reasonably in a good, safe spot, but obviously what's happened, things have changed, and the cruise companies will look into it. But I believe there's a big list of people wanting to cruise again. There was always people 50-50 that may cruise or may not, but and there was always that list of people that would never cruise. So I think, the anticipation for people to get back on board is still there. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I see in the US, a trial cruise has just set sail from Miami. It has, I think, 600 passengers on board, and they're essentially testing the safety protocols to see if they're going to work or not to reopen more broadly. Here in Australia, with the industry figures you're working with on this, what is the first step? I mean, I'm assuming that it will be baby steps at first, and that the plan will just be perhaps cruises in Australian waters before we start heading into international waters and foreign ports.
Yeah, very much. I think Australian waters are the first step, and obviously capacity may not be full capacity on the first cruises. They may operate at 25%, 50% capacity. Who knows? Their figures I'm just pulling up, but and when they do cruise, it'll be, obviously there'll be some anxious people there, but I think it will be done in the correct manner, and no one wants to go on a cruise ship, and these cruise companies, I'm sure, don't want to start it again and have to close down again. As I said, the amount of things that affects 18,000 Australians employed on these ships, also in this country, but then, that roll-on effect from farmers, suppliers, producers, the hotels and restaurants and cafes in each city. So that's the real problem. And that's why I think myself and cruise companies are asking for a pathway, as it takes a good 3 months to get these boats back in order to get sailing again.